Hi there, my name is Benjamin Piper, also goes by Golden Bacon. I am here with my good friend Jehu, who is a local musician. Um, Jehu, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. And I hope you are too.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Good Saturday. Are you out of school yet? Or
I
do you
am
have a couple?
actually.
Yeah, you are. Okay, cool. Nice. Yeah, we just got fall break off, so yeah.
Or Thanksgiving break for me.
Yeah, Thanksgiving. Yeah, they just call it whatever now, I guess. And I guess it doesn't matter, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for my first question for you today, and this is what I ask everyone in the music world, um, is what made you get into music in the first place?
Um, my story goes way back. You could say the way I started to like music, or the reason why I started to like music was because of my father.
Mm,
Um, when I was when I was really young, we're talking like when I was a baby, basically. When I was still in the crib, when I was still in the crib, I still had my little baby toys above me. I used to cry a lot. I'll admit I used to cry a lot as a baby, and my parents have said that many times that I used to cry a lot. But whenever we would go to bed, my dad would put on this one. It was an Indonesian song, I believe. It was an Indonesian rock song. I forgot the name of the band. I forgot the
okay.
song, but I could ask him again, and I could tell you that later. But yeah, that it was like this really, I know it was like a very slow, last time I listened to it, it was like a slow kind of like sad rock beat, but it got really loud at some points, like the chorus and all that. But yeah, other than that, I would say a lot of Queen, a lot of the Beatles, a lot of Nirvana, uh a bit of Metallica in there.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's basically how I got into music. And Jimi
Yeah.
Hendrix, of course.
Yeah, I'm all over the place. Of course, I always mention that my parents are big Deadheads. They love the Grateful Dead. My dad loves
Mm.
The Cure to this day. I mean, we went to a Cure concert not too long ago. But one thing that I always remember is that for some reason, when I was growing up, like we had a record player and a bunch of Blondie albums. So like Heart of Glass, The Tide is High. Well, that's not Blondie, but um like we just played the record player and we would just like you said as a kid and you just dance to it and whatnot. Just the classics.
Yep.
So what are your biggest musical influences and why? Like who do you inspire to be, I guess?
Hmm. Quite recently, and I would say like pretty much the beginning of this year, I got into this one band that I heard a while back, and I might have mentioned it as one of the bands that got me into music in the first place. But I said the Strokes, and
Okay.
basically they're just like this five piece with a really interesting front man, but the rest of the guys in the band they're really low key. But they make like indie rock kind of. They kind of started the whole early aughts rock movement, and that's kind of what I aspire to be. I aspire to be like those guys because that's like the music released during my time when
Hmm.
I was born and whatnot. And
Yeah.
yeah, it just feels kind of nostalgic, you know? It's nostalgic listening to music that sounds like it's from like 20 years from when it was like released and all that.
Yeah. And I know you're not in a band now, but you play a lot of instruments. So like
hmm
would you rather like have your own career or would you rather be in a full band kind of like Strokes?
Uh, you know, they always it always starts as a band, and then whenever they want to, the band goes on hiatus, and then everyone either spends time with family and whatnot, or they go off and record their own music. And I feel like that's something that's the career path that I would take. Start off with the band and then maybe do solo endeavors during a hiatus and see how that goes.
Yeah. Now, I know you're located in Dallas, Texas area, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so is there is there a big music scene there? I'm not totally aware, or is it just all country stuff?
Um, as you expect, because it's Texas, yes, it's a lot of country, a whole
Yeah.
lot of country, but there's been a hard rock, like a blues, like a really bitey, gritty blues sound coming out of Texas recently once again.
Hmm.
But there's also, from what I could tell, bit of a punk scene as well, a Dallas punk scene.
Hmm.
Um, it's not necessarily a big scene yet, but from what I've heard, and in fact, I know a guy who's now my rival. He's a drummer in one of the punk bands, but their band name is Pike, I believe. It's some dumb name, but
Yeah,
but
you gotta
yeah,
start somewhere.
yep. But yeah, they're basically one of those guys, and I expect them to create a buzz around the scene, around the Dallas scene. But I
Hmm.
mean, obviously, because one of the guys is a personal rival of mine, I hope they don't. But whatever, whatever happens, it happens, and
You
can't
got
do
some
anything
beef
about
with
it.
that guy. You got some beef
I
with the
do.
punk rock scene in Dallas. But hey, you
Hmm.
never know. You never know where these things take you. I mean, who knows? Maybe Dallas becomes a punk rock scene in the future.
Hmm.
So,
Much like Seattle did in the 90s.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So my next question is, what was the first? I know you play multiple instruments, but what was the first one you ever picked up?
Uh, Piano or keyboard.
Mm,
Let's see. When I was 7 or 8 years old, so 2015, a long
mm.
time ago, man.
Almost 10 years.
Yep, it's basically 10 years ago at this point. But at that time, my parents decided to get me and my brothers a musical teacher so that we could all learn how to play instruments for the choir, not for the choir, for the church that we went to at the time. We've since moved to a, different church, but yeah, I learned a few gospel songs, even though
Mm,
it was just basic, just hit banging out a chord, just bang out a chord, B major, A major, that's it.
yeah.
Nothing else, no spice. But yeah, it was fun later on. And then I got into, like I said, all those rock bands like Queen and the Beatles, and
Yeah.
I listened to the guitars. They're so crazy and loud, and then I just wanted to do that. At first, I picked up the bass guitar because of that, but then
Mm,
afterwards, I kind of got bored, and so I picked up my first guitar, um, like my first real electric guitar, like about like 3 years ago. But that guitar apparently broke, and I don't have that one anymore, sadly. I wish I would
mm.
have kept it, but we sold it off, and we got a bit of money out of it, so it doesn't
That's
matter.
good.
But yeah. That's
Yeah,
where it
maybe.
started, and that's how it's gone, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, that's one way to do it. I'm kind of
Hmm.
a similar way to be honest, because I mentioned this before, but I grew up in, like you said, a religious family, and that's what most people started. Sang a lot of gospel songs, like a lot for over, I was in choir for like 12 years, man. And I did a bunch of singing, but it was during like COVID, I started playing the piano. I can never get like the both the hands. Like
Mm.
it's like if you don't start that at a young age, you can like it's super difficult. But I still learned up to 12 songs, like the Beatles and Queen and all those
Yeah,
cool cats and whatnot.
yeah.
But yeah, so you mentioned how long you played, almost 10 years now. But
Hmm.
how often do you practice usually?
I mean, I if you count mindless noodling, mindless songwriting, then you could say pretty much consistently almost maybe every month since I started, maybe about
Wow.
every month I would play, maybe once a month I would play an instrument, but then it slowly got more and more, more fun, more creative, and then yep, it's basically every day now. I just love picking up an instrument and just messing
Mm.
around with it. making music with whatever note I play.
Yeah, it's always super fun to just mess around. I always did that on the computer or keyboard and just
Mm.
kind of just see what works. So is there any like as of right now, of course, is there like any like specific technique you're working on for any sort of instrument or anything like that?
Mm. I could get better at orchestral instruments.
Yeah.
I'd love to do like a weird trumpet saxophone solo in a song one day.
That'd
It
be
would
cool.
be really wacky, really cool. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
that'd be awesome.
but yeah, no, yeah, I'm not really a technical guy. I'm more like a play and then listen and then see if you like it, build off from there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how a lot of musicians that I've interviewed pretty much almost have the exact same method. They would kind of just play around with the keyboard when the songwriting process and they would just go, "Oh, I like that sound. I'm gonna keep it." And then if they don't like that sound, they're not gonna keep it. I mean, it's just trial and error basically with the
Mm.
songwriting process.
Trial and error is a very effective process when it comes to songwriting, actually. It's more important. I think it's more important in music than anything else. Better than math, better than science, better than anything else.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm a big trial and error guy. I mean, like, even right now, I mean, I'm doing all these interviews and I'm kind of adjusting everything because even like recently, like, if you go down and see my first interviews, I had like these boxes for the thumbnails, but then I started, oh, maybe I don't really like that. So I tried something different. And
Mm,
it is a trial and process error. I
yeah, but
mean,
trial and error.
yep. And that's kind of what everything boils down to. At least that's my favorite method of learning for sure. So, what do you hope to achieve, like, just in the next year? Let's just say that.
Mm, my first public release,
Oh shit.
perhaps. Yes, oh
Oh
shit,
shit.
indeed.
All right, we're getting
That
the
might
deets.
that
Oh,
it won't even happen. It probably won't. That probably won't even happen just next year. That'll probably happen in late December if we're lucky, or
okay.
maybe
Yeah.
yeah, maybe early or late December, early mid December if we're lucky, and late December if we're not.
Yeah, by the way, that reminds me of my projects. I'm supposed to be making documentaries and shit. Like that's what I was doing all this morning. Um, yeah, that was supposed to release in October. It is
Jesus
now
Christ.
November. Okay,
Yeah.
to be fair, college got in the way. That was basically the reason. But no, I literally started the project and just never finished it. I was hoping to get an interview with Neil, which is about the documentary, and I did.
Mm.
It took 10 weeks, but I got it. So
Uh,
I'm gonna have to put that together. But like you said, it's quite difficult to make a song or a documentary or just really any of those big projects.
mhm. Projects take a lot of passion in order to come to fruition. They take a lot of time and they take a lot of energy. It's tiring. It can get really hard sometimes to lock in and do what you want to do or do what you need to do. But once you do it, you get a lot of satisfaction out of it, or maybe even a little, but it doesn't matter. You'll get some satisfaction out of finishing it and reaping the benefits of it.
Yeah. You know, one thing I love about these interviews is that it's kind of like I love interviewing like smaller people, especially because I would just love to see like for example you. I would love you to see you like 10 years from now like blow up in Dallas. And it's just like this is the first ever recording of any information about you at earlier in life.
Mm.
It's just
That
us
would be
talking about
amazing.
random shit. I mean that's the fun of it though.
Mm,
So I know you're working on a new song in your first release, which
hmm
I'm kind of excited for, I'm not gonna lie. So but as of right now, personally, what milestone that you've already achieved that you're proud of? So what's a personal milestone you've already achieved that you're proud of?
Mm, I mean, we have a few fans in the neighborhood because we did a few we did a or I did all right, wait, hold on. Let's see here. Milestones, I'll just start simple. My first milestone was my first ever kind of like performance in front of people. It was last year's Halloween. I was in the garage by myself with my guitar. I was playing whole bunch of rockers, whole bunch of rock songs that I knew at that time, and it was fun. I got a few fans out of it, but nothing came out of it. And then the second time we did it though, which would be another milestone because that's kind of my second gig ever, I guess. But
Mhm.
yeah, we did it in the garage again, but this time I had a whole backing band kind of. I had a few friends from school. It came over and then we played. Um it was a bit rocky at first, but we got the hang of it at some point later on. Well, while we kept playing, but yeah, it was just fun overall. We got a few fans out of it. I think one of my fans is like my next door neighbor, like like we share backyards, but it's blocked off by a fence.
Not nice. Yeah, that's pretty funny. So, yeah, just in general, like live or like recording or making your project, what is the most difficult like challenge for you so far as a musician?
Mm, I would say probably just trying to get there in the first place because a lot of things get in the way. So I don't
Yeah.
know what that's like yet. But I guess live so far, I guess the hardest
Hmm.
thing to do is listen because it's loud, very loud. It's very loud on the ears when you don't have monitors, when you're broke. So
Reminds me of
yeah.
me. God, I don't even have a backdrop yet. I like put up like the sheet like one time like on the first interview you could see I put like this bed sheet and it was just like I literally spent like 2 hours just trying to hook it up with like duct tape or some shit and it looked terrible and then I realized
Mm.
on Zoom you could just blur the background so I'm like oh okay I guess I'll just do that that'll be easier but I'm hoping to actually afford just a simple background I'm gonna put like little things or something on it.
Mm.
I would like have a board where I like write previous interview and then their name or something like as a shout out or something.
Yep, that'd be
But
amazing, and it would be
yeah.
thankful to the people that you've interviewed.
Yeah, or just like I always had the idea of like newest subscriber and just put their name on the board like every single day and stuff like that.
That'd be so cool.
That would be. I thought it'd be pretty cool. But
Mm.
well, speaking of live and your live performances, do you ever feel nervous about performing live? And if so, how do you handle it usually?
Um, it takes a lot of calming of the nerves when you're backstage, so to speak. Um, like during the second gig, the second Halloween gig, which was last month, I believe. Yeah, last month.
Hmm.
Um, we were kind of backstage. We were kind of like in a music room. I have a little music room in my house, and we
Okay.
have like a little drum set there. But we moved it to the garage. We moved everything to the garage in order to do it, so more people would see us. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, we were just kind of practicing, but we were also kind of nervous. I know some of us are nervous, so yeah, that's just kind of it.
Yeah. I mean, like for me doing these interviews, usually I like it's always practice makes perfect, you know? Like no matter what you do.
Bless me.
So, yeah, bless you. Um, but like I always say like practice makes perfect. Even doing these interviews gets a lot easier as time goes on. Yeah, you get naturally nervous no matter what you do, like no matter how many times you do it. Same thing with
Hmm.
speeches, same thing with performing live, of course. And yeah, I think the best practice is just keep doing it over and over and over again and then kind of like nervousness kind of goes away because then
Mm,
it's just more casual.
yep.
So, yeah, just moving on. Do you prefer playing music alone or do you rather prefer collaborating with others?
Um, I mean, hell, I could just do everything by myself, but I like doing it with other people. So I like to do it with other people. Um, it's nice to hear what they want to do and what they want their sound to be. And
Mhm.
then if it's something that I can't really jive with, or if it's not my thing, or I'm not really good at it, I could always redirect them to another person that knows their kind of thing. But I like working with other people, but I also like working by myself. And sometimes I feel like working by myself is easier, and sometimes working with
Mhm.
others is easier. But yeah, I don't really have a definitive answer on that, really. I
Mhm.
just I like to play by myself and I like to play with others. So,
Yeah. So since you mentioned a little bit earlier that you're having, well, hopefully your first release of a song somewhat soon, hopefully. What would your band name be? Or would it just be self-titled?
hmm, a band name.
You're coming up with one on the spot.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know what I'm gonna name it actually.
I'm sure you'll figure it out. I'm
Yeah.
sure you'll figure it out.
I don't have an answer to that.
Yeah. One of my favorite questions I love to ask everyone, no matter what, because I kind of made it happen accidentally.
Mhm.
Um, so who would be your dream musician or band to collaborate with and why?
Mm, that's a really hard one. Even though I did mention the Strokes many times,
Hmm.
uh, it's really hard to choose because there are many inspirational people to me and many inspirational bands, a lot of people, a lot of things and a lot of bands, a lot of people that mean a lot to me.
Hmm.
So, but if I really had to choose, um, I would say Paul McCartney from the Beatles
Didn't he
because he's
explode?
aging. Yeah, he exploded a while back and they replaced him with a double.
Yep, he's a bot. He's a robot. He died on
Exactly.
stage.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would say Paul McCartney definitely because he's aging and he's a freaking legend.
Yeah.
He's a fucking legend, really.
He is ridiculously chill. Like
Hmm.
ridiculously. I feel like he would just collaborate with a random person just for the sake of collaborating.
Hmm.
Like he's that chill. I've seen him like behind the scenes and other stuff because he has like an Instagram page and he's just like doing the most random stuff. A couple other
Hmm.
musicians do that as well. But yeah, I don't know where that joke came up, like where that joke started, where he blew up on stage. I know it was pyrotechnics, but like,
Yeah, it was when he was playing what it was when he was playing what was it that song Live and Let Die
yeah,
for
let die.
the James Bond song or yeah for the James Bond movie, yeah.
Oh, that's what it
Hmm.
was.
Yeah,
Oh, because I was like, why are they doing so many like pyrotechnic stuff? Like, yeah, it's live
yeah.
and let die, but it's like, why are you blowing yourself up?
I mean, it's a very climactic and very explosive intro, so
It is, it is, it is.
live and let
To be
die.
fair.
Bow, exactly.
Yeah,
You have to accompany it with something epic.
that's fair. That's fair, actually. That's a good answer. So I know you play a lot of instruments, but what is your favorite music of genre to play or listen to?
I'm rock all the way through, but I
Mhm.
like listening to many things. I listen to many things. I listen to some of my little brother's underground rap stuff, and even though it's a very derivative, I would say it's derivative, but there's like passion behind
Mhm.
the music that he listens to and the people that make it. Um I feel like listening to the more underground artists is more fun to me than just listening to
Mhm.
of the big bands that I like listening to because
Yeah.
I can really hear like in the lyrics, even though, with underground rap, there's always a lot of expletives and stuff. But I feel like that's kind of like part of the attitude to it, the emotion, the rage. Because the first, most of the time, I wouldn't say all the time, but most of the time, whenever something bad happens to you or someone makes you mad or whatever, you just kind of want to curse out. So,
Hmm.
and just kind of letting it out in the form of music, I feel like is really, really cool and really, it just speaks to it just rings passion. Like, I don't know, man. I just like listening to a lot of stuff, but I listen to
Yeah.
rock most of the time, but I like listening to other things.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same way. Of course, I have like the classics, the 80s rock and the Beatles and the Queen and stuff like that. But at the
Hmm.
same time, like I always try to find like the underground music, like you said, of today, because there's a lot of talent out there that is very, very underappreciated that you
Mm.
could find for sure. And then they would have like the craziest stories and the craziest lore, and sometimes they would produce the best music you ever heard, just
Hmm.
casually. But
And nobody would ever wink an eye.
no, 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 100%, 100%. Like I've met plenty of people that are in that same boat where I mean, there's some bands that are more popular that I've interviewed, but there's a lot of people that I talked to where they were just nobodies. I mean, obviously I keep bringing them up because they're my favorite and they're my home team. Ginger Root. Um, discovered them when they had I think 200,000 subscribers. Like they were pretty up there, but now they're selling out everywhere and they have um like they have millions and millions of listeners,
Mm.
200,000 subscribers on Spotify to clarify that up. But now they have much, much more. But
Mm.
I love rooting for the underdog. I'm a big underdog fan.
Hmm.
But and one thing that drove me to that is kind of just the modern music industry. It's very
Hmm.
monetized. Like
Yep.
the early,
Commercialized, basically.
yeah, exactly. It's very capitalized. Like
Hmm.
every song kind of sounds the same, and there are obviously some exceptions, there's once in a while a good, modern song would pop up, but
Hmm.
just most of the time I'm just like, bro, it's the same song over and over and over and over again, while this random guy in his mom's basement made the best song of the year.
Exactly. It's kind of a shame, but that's usually how it goes nowadays. Back then, it was a bit easier, but
Mhm.
the powerful will always keep you down, but don't let them keep you down. That's what Nirvana did, and it's always good to see an underdog win.
Yeah, I always root for the underdogs. Um, so do you have a favorite song that you wish you could play perfectly or anything like that?
Mm, man, I'm just so good. I could just play everything. Um, uh, I guess if there's one song that I hope to master in the future, it's probably Bohemian Rhapsody. I hope to
Yeah.
play that on the piano, just bang it out. It's such a legendary song, and it kind of like I feel like if I can learn it, then it would just prove that like basically
Mhm.
anyone can just listen to a song and then want to start a band or want to go on their own and make music by themselves and then they could be successful. I feel like if I could just learn that one song because that song's just so recognizable to millions of people and then just
Yeah.
seeing someone that they've never heard of before, never seen before, just kind of play it masterfully, I feel like it would be very inspirational.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same way, but a little bit different. So I always like that's a really good goal to set up because Bohemian Rhapsody has so much history, just the song itself. But
Mm,
at the same time, it is very complicated. but that's what makes it so good because
Hmm.
it like changes all the time and it's like I remember watching have you seen the movie Bohemian Rhapsody where it's
I
like
have.
it's such a good movie. That's like one of my favorite like music movies kind of thing. That's
I
like
thought it was a bit middling when it came to the history, but overall
yeah,
it
a
was
little bit.
entertaining, I guess.
But like you mentioned, Bohemian Rhapsody, when they were talking about releasing that song, the I think it was the BBC didn't even want to air it because it was a 7 minute song, even though they have aired 7 minute songs before back in
Mm,
the 70s and 80s. And they were just like, this would never work, this would never work. And then sure enough, Freddie Mercury did what Freddie Mercury does best and went to a random radio station in the middle of nowhere, released it there, and then it became a big hit, went back to them and just basically flipped them off. It's like
yeah.
screw you.
Freddie
Just a big
Mercury is
F
just a
you.
great he was just an amazing guy, man. He's just his life is just so it's random, but it's just
Yeah.
so entertaining and it's like you could just tell from the stories that have come out, even if some are bad, but
Mhm.
most of them they just kind of come off as like, Freddie's just kind of having the time of his life and all that.
Yeah. It's a really good life like honestly, personally, I would love to have maybe not I wouldn't make some of the decisions like the drugs and alcoholism. I probably would try to stay away with that a little bit more.
Hmm.
Um but uh, but at the same time it's like you only live once, you gotta live it.
Hmm.
Like so, and I love Freddie Mercury as a person too because he'll never take no as an answer. Like
Hmm.
if someone doesn't want him to do one thing, he'll just go and do it a different way. He'll still get the same result regardless.
Yeah.
But yeah,
He was
uh,
all about vision.
he was. He was. It's those kinds of people that really get a lot done.
Hmm.
S-
One vision. It's a
Yeah,
good song.
that is a good song. So where do you see yourself as a musician? Let's say like 5 years from now.
Um, Maybe a bit of small town buzz,
Yeah.
maybe citywide star, maybe a statewide star,
Yeah.
maybe a nationwide star, maybe a worldwide star, maybe an intergalactic star, perhaps.
Damn. That's crazy.
I'm gonna be rocking out to the aliens. Elon Musk is gonna help me with the
Damn right. You're
concerts.
close to him.
Yep.
So, nah, I don't know. How far is La Padre to Dallas? Is that like 3 hours or is
Mm,
that five?
I'm
Oh,
assuming that would be near Houston,
right.
wouldn't it be?
No, it's literally on the border of Mexico.
So that would probably be like a few hours. That's like a bit more. That's
I
like
know Texas
four or
is
five
huge,
hours.
man.
Yep.
It's always bigger in Texas. But that's true. I'm like the same way, and there are like here in Iowa, there is a lot of genres, but obviously, since it's all farmland, country does take a big priority
Heartland
here.
rock, so to speak.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
Like Bruce Springsteen and all that.
yeah. I mean, weirdly enough, the one band that is mostly known for Iowa is Korn, the heavy metal band.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's
Their
kind of
name makes sense
appropriate.
too.
It does make
Yep.
sense, doesn't it?
Hmm.
But yeah.
Corn representing the very Christian farmers of Iowa.
Yes, of course. So, my last question for you today is if you could play music anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Mm. I'd hope to go back to my home country and get to play a concert there because
Hmm.
I mean, I didn't really explain much when I was introducing myself, but my parents are from this country. It's such an unknown country. I think it's called like Burma or something. It's
Oh,
Burma
yeah,
or
Burma. I know where
Myanmar.
that is.
Hmm. It's
Yeah,
a Southeast Asian country, and
yeah.
as pretty much basically nobody knows at this point anymore. pretty much nobody knows. Well, some people know, like me, of course, that there's a
Mhm.
war going on there. There's a civil war going on there. And the reason why it started was because the military dickheads decided to overrule a fair election and stage a coup on the inauguration day, so to speak. So yeah, it's been terrible down there, but I hope one day peace and democracy comes back to my country and I'll get to go there and get to play to my people, basically.
Yeah.
During a
So
time of peace.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
It was a bit dramatic there at the end, but
I was gonna make
yeah,
a
you
bunch
know.
of jokes there.
Yeah, you
That's never
know,
happened here or Brazil. It's never.
overturning a fair election. I've never
Reminds me
heard
of
of that.
some other country.
Hmm.
I'm allowed to make jokes
Peace.
about
But
that.
yeah, man.
But
That's basically it.
yeah, see you.
See you, dude. I
Yeah,
guess. I don't
I
know.
got no more else to add if you wanted to add anything or anything like that.
Mm, nope. I didn't really have much to add.
All right, stay rizzy, stay drippy. See you
You
later.
too, sir. See you later.